Friends, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. And I'd like to also acknowledge the presence of Senator Sherwin Gatchalian in today's hearing. Salamat muli, Sen. Sherwin. So just to refresh everyone's memory, sinimulan natin ang hearing na ito noong mayroon po tayong tinulungang 100 Pilipino na makabalik mula sa Myanmar kung saan sila na traffic sa isang malaking scam hub na malapit sa border ng Thailand. And I'm happy to share that one of our rescuees, si Elias Rita, has chosen to transform her trauma to create a positive impact. Sa tulong ng Active Citizenship Foundation, binabahagi niya ang kanyang karanasan sa mga youth and students para hindi sila mabigahani ng mga scam hubs. Ngunit mula good news ay papunta sa bad news. When we started the hearings, we wanted to cast a light on the phenomenon of Filipinos being trafficked to other countries, usually in the Southeast Asian region, to work as scammers. Then, we discovered that these scam hubs, which we once believed were predominantly in other countries, perhaps in more fragile democracies, are actually here in the Philippines. Sinilip natin ang Clark Scam Hub. Ako, parehong suot kong blazer dyan. Nakakainis, pero yan, hazards of the trade. Sinilip din natin ang Pasay Scam Hub. And perhaps there were some of us who still thought that these were isolated cases, nowhere near the contagion that has hit our Southeast Asian neighbors. Pero friends, dito po ako nabigla. I was very disturbed to hear that there is persuasive information from the intelligence community stating na itong Bamban complex na ito ay ginagamit for surveillance activities. At ang mga ibang nabalitang high-profile cases of hacking of our own government websites ay traceable sa complex na ito. Are POGOs now being used to spy on us? Ginigisa na ba tayo sa sarili nating mantika? Labas po ito sa impormasyon na there were actual Chinese fugitives found in the Baofu compound. Then comes the most troubling news. Tayo na po ang isa sa fastest growing hotspots for scams sa buong mundo. According to our colleagues in PAOK, halos lahat po ng malawakang investigasyon on cyber fraud and cyber scams sa mundo may nexus sa Pilipinas. Ibig sabihin, there is some kind of traceable connection to the Philippines. Halo-halong kalamay na ang scams, national security threats, human trafficking. If these scam hubs are so lucrative, hindi na ito titigil. These will just grow and grow. And before we know it, we will be faced with a threat to our national security like nothing we have ever seen before. How did we come to this? Paano tayo nakaabot dito? What forces conspired or continue to conspire to allow this to happen? Perhaps what we will show you next will shed some light on this. So ito po yung napakagandang gate entrance kanina. Totoo po yung una yung nasilip kanina, yung pangatlong ito, napakalaking compound pala talaga ito. Sa kalagitnaan lang ng bayan ng Bambang Tarlac. Actually, ang tawag po ng mga taga roon ay mini BGC ng Bamban. Sa laki niya at sa ganda niya, sa pagkasosyal niya. At ito po ay naka-register sa Zun Yuan Technology Incorporated o ZYTI, pero ang lupa ay sa Baofu Corporation nakapangalan. Within this complex are various buildings na ayon sa Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission ginagamit para sa scams. Love scam po ang karaniwan na ginagawa dito. Parang yung ginagawa noon ni na Elias Sirita. Nagpapaibig sa mga nasa ibang bansa at pagkatapos ay huhut-hutan. We also saw, you may have seen, gleaming villas within this compound. Valued, isa po yan, valued at over 40 million pesos per villa. May wine cellar, itong state-of-the-art kitchen, pati toilets, at ang laking gulat ko ay entrance papunta sa isang underground bunker at a maze of tunnels. Ang tanong, bakit may bunker? Bakit may tunnels? Why would a registered POGO conducting legal activities need these? I was even more surprised when I found out that there seems to be clear documentary evidence linking the local government of Banban, specifically the mayor, to the operations. Mamaya po, iisa-isahin po natin ito sa tulong ng PAOK na unang nakakuha ng mga documents na ito. Inimbitahan din po natin ang mayor ng Bamban para magbigay ng kanilang paliwanag. Ang mga susunod na tanong, kung totoo ang mga ito, hanggang local government lang ba ang sphere of influence nitong mga Chinese POGO? Or mayroon pang mga protector sa itaas? POGO at scams lang ba ang intention? Or is there a larger and more sinister end game? It does not abate my worries in the least that separate sources in the intelligence community and various executive agencies are sounding the alarm of large tracts of land around EDCA sites being purchased by Chinese nationals with Filipino identity documents. Ang modus di umano ay late registration of birth. Friends, our investigations in the Senate are never to pin anyone down. Hindi po namin layunin ni tungkulin na maghain ng evidence beyond reasonable doubt laban sa mga individual o opisina. Tungkulin po namin siyasatin at unawain ang mga kaganapan sa ating lipunan na maaring maging batayan para magsulong ng mga batas at polisiya. And if these POGOs provide cover for scams and human trafficking, if these POGOs engender corruption in the public service, if these POGOs threaten our national security, sa tingin ko po malinaw ang direksyon na dapat nating tahakin. Senator Sherwin, the floor is yours for your opening statement.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Madam Chairperson, nasabi ko ito nung nag-inspection tayo sa Tarlac. May kasabihan sa English na itatagalog ko, kung naloko ka ng isang beses, kahiyan yun ng loko. Pero kung naloko ka ng 2 beses, kahiyan na natin yun. Dito sa lugar na ito, sa Banban, Tarlac, 2 beses ang raid na nangyari. Isa nung February 23, na-raid yung Hongsheng POGO dahil sa fraudulent cryptocurrency and investment operations. 850 ang na huli at na-rescue. At fast forward after 1 year, ngayon March of 2024, na-raid na naman yung Zun Yuan dahil sa human trafficking and serious illegal detention. Ang na-apprehend at na-rescue ay 875. Same location, same POGO operation, almost the same amount of people ang na-rescue at na-apprehended. 2 beses nangyari doon. At just this new administration alone, meron 6 na raids na nangyari. Isa sa Clark, yung Sun Valley. Sa Las Piñas, yung Rivendell, another POGO operator. Sa Parañaque, yung Asiana. Sa Pasay, yung latest na pinuntahan namin rin ng ating chairperson, yung Smart Web na pinakita kanina, may mga torture chamber, merong prostitution din. 6 na nangyari in the last almost 2 years. So makikita natin, ginagamit ng Pogo yung kanilang lisensya na galing sa PAGCOR na binabandera nilang legitimate, pero ang sa likod, ang nangyari ay crypto scam, love scam, human trafficking, torture, illegal detention. So makikita natin na walang kabutihan ang dinadala ng Pogo dito. Bagkus ginagamit lang yung quote-unquote legitimate license nila para lokohin tayong lahat. At kung tutusin itong 6 na raids, 6 na panloloko to eh. And forgive me for this word, parang ginagago na tayo, Madam Chair, dahil binabandera nila yung legitimate na license na nakukuha nila sa PAGCOR. So dapat na talagang itigil ang Pogo dahil ang kinakatukutan natin ay nandito na alam nila gumamit ng pera, suhol, lagay para maproteksyonan sila sa kanilang operasyon dito sa ating bansa. Nasabi ko nga nung nag-inspection tayo, sino naman maglalakas ng loob, mag-i-invest ng ganong kalaki? No? 44 million, sabi nga ng ating chairperson, per villa, na 15 villa. No? Kung alam mo may protection ka, alam mo may kapit ka, maglalagay ka ng pera dahil alam mo makakatakas ka. Kaya, Madam Chairperson, thank you very much for conducting this hearing once again. Hindi kami magsasawa dito na magkaroon ng hearing para ibulgar yung mga ganitong hindi magagandang aktibidad ng Pogo, at hindi kami mapapagod na ibulgar yung mga taong nasa likod na nagbibigay proteksyon dito sa mga Pogo operators. Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson.
Maraming salamat, Sen. Sherwin. Comsec, could you kindly acknowledge our resource person's presence today?
Good morning, everyone. For the record, the committee would like to acknowledge the presence of the following resource person. From the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission, we have Undersecretary Gilberto Cruz, together with Director Winnie Gedato.
So, fino-forward ko na, no, mga
Okay, we'll
kaibigan.
From the Clark Development Corporation, we have Attorney Gloria Victoria Taruk, Piñon Coritanas, and angrily stated that he will
Forward
not
natin.
answer further question from our server. That was the report given to us by our USAA. Thank you.
So, Madam Chairman, it seems to me that there's a pattern. Zunyuan is a duly licensed Pogo operator of PAGCOR. SmartWeb is a duly licensed Pogo operator of PAGCOR. Both have incorporators which are living in bogus or non-existent addresses. That goes to show the quality of people and incorporators of these companies are involved in these Pogo operators. Let me just put that on record, Madam Chairman.
Very well taken, Sen. Sherwin, and thank you, Comsec. Will there be a motion that the chair could rule on to, since these persons are not at their stated addresses and would not receive the invitation or the subpoena of the committee for further action from the committee, will there be one forthcoming from the good senator?
Madam Chairman, with your permission, I move to subpoena the registered incorporators of Zunyuan, namely the president and chairman, Miss Jaimilin Cruz, the director and treasurer of the said company, Mr. Roderick Paul Pujante, and the corporate secretary, director corporate secretary, Mr. Juan Miguel Alpas. So moved.
So ordered. Thank you for the motion from Senator Sherwin. Comsec, please issue for the committee the subpoenas against the 3 named incorporators of Sunyuan. Thank you. Comsec, could you please also administer the oath to our resource persons who are here for the first time?
our witness was able to escape.
And just about your first
Our raid, we were able to find
Okay. I, please state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to this investigation. Thank you. You may now take your seat.
Thank you, ComSec, and thank you, resource persons. Kung pwede pong makapagtanong una sa PAOK, since kayo po yung nag-conduct nung raid doon sa Bamban, could you please give the committee a short presentation of your key findings in that raid? So the chair acknowledges Dr. Casio.
we prepared a PowerPoint presentation that we gave to the committee earlier on. May I
Could
ask
we just
you
know
to
how many
ask?
minutes long it is?
We could I could probably do it in 5 minutes, ma'am. I'll just skip
Please
through.
proceed.
I'll just skip through the most important parts.
Please proceed.
Could we go through the PowerPoint, please? Let us skip the first 2 slides, please. 3 slides. Skip that one. So that's the compound. Okay. So, ma'am, can we proceed to the next slide? Basically, Sunyu 1, as per the documents we obtained from PAGCOR, is only licensed to operate in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floors of that building, A1 building, the admin building of Bauco compound. But we were able to obtain a warrant for the entire compound, 36 buildings, and thankfully we were able to do that because in our raid we were able to find that the actual scamming activities were found in 2 other areas that were not declared under the PAGCOR license. But let me state, Madam Chair, Mr. Senator, that even in the licensed POGO, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floors, initial investigation indicates that there are also scamming activities in that legitimate POGO.
And just about your first 3 slides, Dr. Casio, even from the air, ang laki niyang tignan. What is the area of that whole compound?
I could not recall on the top of my head, but there are 36 buildings thereabouts, ma'am. So I could imagine it could be a few hectares.
So we will ask perhaps another national government agency later kung ganong kalaki yung mukhang malaking compound na yan. Please proceed, Doctor.
Could we proceed to the next slide, please? So that particular area houses the condominium units where our deponent, our witness was able to escape from. Can we proceed to the next slide, please?
That was a Filipino witness?
No, ma'am, that was the Vietnamese witness.
All right.
Then these are the villas that was stated earlier on by the good Senator Gatchalian. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, he is correct. There would be around 14 villas thereabouts, and 3 of the villas are interconnected by tunnels.
May tunnel
And there is
na
a large,
kaibigan,
I would say,
sinasabi nito ha.
Olympic-sized swimming pool therein. And under one of the villa, in the most sophisticated villa, would be a multi-million peso worth of a wine cellar. We had the cellar inventoried and we closed it to ensure that it would not be pilfered.
Bakit may tunnels? Bakit kailangan ng tunnels sa villas?
In our initial investigation, ma'am, we found that there's an actual panic room. So it is for that reason that during the initial serving of the warrant, the people who were inhabiting that particular villas were not found by our police officers because they were hiding in the panic room.
So yun yung purpose ng panic room.
Yes, ma'am. Thankfully for us, since we stayed there for a few days up until the 3rd day to conduct the investigation and to do the wrap-up, we were able to find 4 Chinese nationals in that area. Unfortunately, that was already a 2nd search, so we could not include them in the inquest. Otherwise, that would be a 2nd serving of the warrant.
Pero itong 4 na Chinese nationals, nung una, doon nagtago sa panic room. But
Opo.
later, nung lumabas sila, doon
Opo.
nyo sila nadakip.
Opo. Can we proceed, please? Ito po yung incidente that led to the application of the warrant. This is the video that we prepared. This is Mr. Tan Minh Duc. He's a Vietnamese national. Can we play the video, please?
Please note, sandali po, please move back to the previous slide. Paki-suspend muna yung pag-play ng video. Sorry, just before the video. Sige, pakinote lang po yung mga kaibigan natin sa media, yung request ng PAOK na this is not for, ito po, strictly forbidden to share or broadcast this video for public viewing under any circumstances. Dahil ongoing pa yung investigation ng PAOK. Okay, please proceed, Doctor.
So this is Danny. His English name is Danny. So tumakas po siya actually noong February 25. Tumalon po siya doon sa condominium area and he was able to go through a river bed. Tumulay po siya sa river bed and he was documenting the entire experience. Hinahabol po siya ng hindi bababang 8 security guards from the Baofu compound.
Paano alam na galing sila sa Baofu, yung guards?
Nagkilala po sila that they were from Zone U1. Kasi po, nakatakas po si Mr. Danny into an adjacent compound, a farm owned by a Filipino-American American Air Force retiree. And they were trying to force that individual to hand over Danny. And thankfully, he did not. Then,
Alam nyo mga kaibigan ha, yung binanggit niya, Filipino-American soldier na retiree, mga kaibigan, at hindi niya tinurn over itong tumakas na ito. Vietnamese ito eh. Nakatakas po ito doon po sa Pogo, no? Tumakas siya. Ngayon, tumawid siya doon sa kabilang lupa. Nakuha po siya nung Filipino-American retiree na yun. At ako, in my own conspiracy theory, I think mga kaibigan, yung retiree na yun, baka part pa rin yun ng asset ng Amerika. It could be part of their CIA or intelligence unit. Diba? Hindi natin alam. So, hindi niya binigay. Therefore, may anticipation mga kaibigan na ano yan eh, minomonitor. Kita nyo yung Amerika, minomonitor nila, tinatabihan nila itong mga pogo na ito. Diba? So, tumawid, itong Vietnamese na to, hindi niya binigay. Oh, diba? Hindi niya binigay. So, therefore, ako, naniniwala ako, malakas ang kutob ko, na part ito ng asset, no, intelligence asset ng Amerika, yung nakakuha, no, na isipin niyo naman, 'di ba, sa dinami-dami ng pagkakataon, bakit isang Filipino-American forces yung nandoon. So therefore, naniniwala ako na all eyes on Pogo ang Amerika. All eyes on Pogo. Matindi rin ang intelligence gathering nitong Amerika, mga kaibigan. Oh.
the following day,
Itong guard naka-uniform pa, no?
Yes,
Doctor?
yes, Your Honor. Then we got a call on the 26th of February from a pastor who was a friend of that Filipino-American national, and he informed us of the presence of Mr. Duke Danny. I arrived at the compound on the 28th of February to retrieve Mr. Duke, and I brought him to Manila, where we kept him in our safe house. Okay. Mr. Danny intimated to us that he was being asked to sign an undertaking, an affidavit of undertaking, that he was not harmed, that he left the compound at his own volition.
Sinong nagpapapirma sa kanya ng ganyang affidavit?
He intimated to us that certain police officers were asking him to sign the said document.
Uniform police officers?
According to Mr. Duke.
Well, ask that to
But
the-
when we arrived at the area, no said police officers were present. Only Mr. Duke and the Filipino American national was there. Let us continue, please. Likewise, we were able to get hold of a plane ticket. He was being forced to leave the Philippines on February 27 or 28, a paid Cebu Pacific ticket.
Galing po kanino yung ticket?
Apparently, according to Mr. Duke, it came from Zone U1. Ito po yun. Then on March 1, the commission likewise received a request from the Malaysian embassy of another national who was being held against his will inside Zone U1. The letter was addressed initially to our executive director, then later on addressed to our chairman, the executive secretary. Ito po yun. That's the actual letter that was given, a request for assistance by the Malaysian embassy.
So aware po yung embassy ng Malaysia dito sa Pilipinas, dito sa Bamban Pogo Hub.
Yes, Madam Chair. So by March 1, the Vietnamese embassy and the Malaysian embassy were already requesting the assistance for their two nationals, ma'am. This is the Malaysian national. He is now standing as a witness. He is being kept on safeguard. Can we proceed, please? So these are some of the pictures that were sent by the Malaysian national to his embassy that served as our basis to apply for the warrant, ma'am. Let us proceed na po doon sa sa slides. So nakuha nga po tayo ng warrant as this is public knowledge by now. So if we may proceed to the next slides, because there are some other important issues that may not have been seen by our Madam Chair. So ito nga po yung mention ni Senator Gatchalian. The Chinese embassy informed us that in that particular Zone U1 technology are 6 fugitives from their territory. Can we proceed, please? Okay. And another Taiwanese national who is also a fugitive from the Republic of China. So bali ito po ang fugitive sa loob ng Zone U1. Incidentally, doon din po sa smart web technology, meron din po tayo mga fugitives. Doon din po sa iba pang mga nakikita natin, parang common thread po siya. Can we proceed, please? Ito po yung actual scam sites. So yung una, yung malaking kahon, kung mapapansin ninyo po pag pumunta kayo ng Bamban, yan po ay parang warehouse lang. Tambakan ng mga gamit ng pang-construction. Pero pag pinasok po ninyo yung kaloob-looban, nandun po yung actual scamming na itinuro ng ating Malaysian witness. Yung maliit naman pong building na yon, sa baba po niyan ay may grocery po dyan at yung second and third floor po niyan, yung actual scam site ng ating Vietnamese witness. Can we proceed?
Kaya dun siya nakatakas sa likod,
Yes,
kasi
ma'am.
katabi nung place
Opo.
of work niya.
Yes, ma'am. Ito po yung actual na nakita nating scam site. Let us proceed po. May mga script po ng mga scamming. And the usual that we see in almost all of the raided POGOs, multiple rows of Androids and iPhones that seems to be receptacles receiving cell phones ng kung anumang scamming activities nila. Can we proceed, please? Patuloy po, yan po yung mga nakikita natin. Those are actual videos of Bamban. Ito na po, yeah, thank you. Let us proceed po. Ito na yung actual cases that we're able to file. So we filed human trafficking and serious illegal detention cases po against 8 nationals, including 1 Filipino national. Next slide po. Ito pong foreign nationals po na natuluyan po ang kanilang kaso, with the exception of Miss Milo, yung Filipino national for further investigation po sa kakulangan ng ebidensya. Tuloy po natin. At inamenda po natin yung information to include criminal forfeiture doon sa kasong sinampa natin sa Kapas. Let us proceed, please. Sa ngayon po ay merong preservation order in the eventuality that the Anti-Money Laundering Council actually files the civil forfeiture case against Zone U1 and the other vehicles and all other valuables that we were able to find in the compound. And on March 3, nag-grant po yung motion to break open natin at ito po yung nakita natin. Next slide, please. Yan yung actual na pagbe-break open. Nasa next slide po yung mga nakuha natin, yung inventaryo. Okay, so 7.3 million and so on and so forth. Palagi na po namin nakikita na yung mga passports ay nakatago sa mga vaults. Tapos yung vaults, yung mga passports po na nakita ay hindi nakita doon sa area ng Zone U1 sa working area, kundi nakita doon sa mga villa. Sa mga personal villas ng mga bosses, ng mga managers. Let us proceed, please.
Anong tools ang ginagamit dyan sa video? Anong ginamit para buksan yung vaults?
Acetylene po, Madam Chair.
Acetylene,
Yes, ma'am.
torches.
Yes. Grinder po sana dapat. Kaya lang po,
Grinder ay mas high-tech na
no ma'am,
tool?
mas effective.
Effective.
Ang acetylene po delikado. In fact, may nasunog pong isang bolt dyan.
So bakit hindi grinder ginamit nyo? Bakit itong
Ah,
torch?
nakakalungkot na nung araw nung pagbubukas ng mga bolts, lahat po ng mga grinders na itinabi namin at dapat naming gamitin ay nagkawalaan sa bayan ng Bamban. Maging yung mga taong aming unang nakausap na siyang mag-ooperate ng mga grinders ay hindi na po namin mahagilap.
Oh, what do you mean, Doctor, nawala sa bayan ng Bamban? At sino yung mga taong yun at saan sila pumunta?
Di umano, they were attending a seminar.
What seminar?
Hindi na ho namin masyadong natanong yung mga detalye, nagtaka lang kami na lahat sila nagkawalaan. They became conveniently they excused themselves to our inconvenience.
Pero mga private citizens ba sila? Ano ba saan
Halo-halo
sila
po.
naka-base?
Halo-halo po.
Oo.
Mga taga-bayan po sila ng Bamban nung initially po kasi may isang weekend, may isang Biyernes na dapat po sila ay gagawin namin yung break open. Unfortunately, hindi ho nabuo yung team namin. So we had to postpone it to another Monday. So okay na po yung usapan. On the next Monday, they would make themselves available. But when we arrived in Bamban in the early morning of that Monday, they were not available and we were informed that the grinders were nowhere to be found and the persons who were supposed to operate were supposed to be attending a seminar. Who sponsored the seminar? We are unaware who. Medyo nakakalungkot lang na nahirapan ho kami. Inabot na kami ng almost 10, 11 o'clock para mahanap yung mga acetylene.
Anong seminar yun?
Ang di umano, ang sabi lang sa amin, allegedly, LGU sponsored daw po yung seminar.
Okay.
So malinaw mga kaibigan na nung araw po na itong Pogo Hub na ito sa bayan ng Bamban Tarlac ay papasukin itong mga operatiba. Meron po silang mga kausap doon mga kaibigan na ika nga ay gagamit sana sila ng mga bolt, no, ng mga bolt cutter, meron silang mga grinder. Ang problema mga kaibigan, papaano na nung araw na yon, isipin mo yun, di ba? Nagkawalaan yung mga kontraktor na yon na sila sana ang bubutas ng mga bolt, di ba? So nawala sila. Ibig sabihin mga kaibigan, merong tumimbre, di ba? Di ba? Ngayon, hindi inaalam nila bakit nawala itong mga kinontrata nila, meron biglang seminar, no? At hindi niya ma-point out kasi walang pwedeng tumistigo no na yun ay sponsored ng LGU. So, yung mayor kasi ng Bamban mga kaibigan, yun po yung sinasabi natin na pakawala ng China, di ba? Kaya itong tawag nito, itong mayor na yan, malamang mga kaibigan, may nakarating na intel sa kanya at lahat yon pina-pull out. Siguro pinagbabayaran yun ng higit na mas malaki. Diba? Kung sa hirap ng buhay ng tao ngayon mga kaibigan, papatusin talaga. Mabuti at nakakuha ng acetylene itong mga operatiba. Play natin.
So, itatanong din
But
natin mamaya.
we had
Sir
no opportunity to verify yung sinabing yun sa amin ng mga taong aming pinakaisapan.
At LGU din ba yung may-ari ng grinders?
Hindi ho. Ang mga grinders po na yon ay itinabi po namin doon sa compound ng Zunyu 1. So
Paano po nawala?
that is a very good question, Your Honor.
All right, please proceed.
So yung custody naman po ng compound at lahat ng mga valuables na nandun sa loob ay pinagkaloob sa pansamantalang kustodiyan ng komisyon noong April 5 with the court order by the Honorable Judge Hermenegildo Dumlao, Branch 81 of Malolos RTC. So pinangangalagaan po namin yan. Kami po ay nagsagawa ng inventaryo kasama po ang AMLs at iba pang mga ahensya. Kami din po ay isinara na namin yung compound na ang aming pakiusap ay wala na makakapasok doon kahit sino nang walang pahintulot ng komisyon sapagkat nasa amin po ang responsibilidad na mapangalagaan ang integridad noong compound na ito. Next po. On April 5 din po, gawa ng merong mga dokumento tayo nakita na di umano ay may koneksyon ang kasalukuyang local chief executive ng Bamban sa operasyon ng Zunyu 1 at yung dating operasyon ng Hongsheng, ang ating SILG ay nagtalaga ng isang task force kung ano nga ba ang pananagutan kung meron man ang naturang Chief Executive ng Bamban. Next po. Ito po yung kasalukuyang isinasagawa pa namin. Marami ho kaming nakita mga nakakalungkot na mga bagay-bagay sapagkat itong mga korporasyon po na ito po ay mga kanseladong mga pogo. Pero sa aming document examination, exploitation sa loob ng Sunyuan, napakarami hong dokumento nagpapatunay na sila ay patuloy na nag-operate sa loob ng Baofu despite the fact that they were cancelled. Katulad po yung number 4, Skycall. Kung hindi kami nagkakamali, yan po'y kanselado ng PAGCOR as early as 2020 or 2021, no? But despite their cancellation, so many documents, including telephone bills in the name of Skycall, were found in Baofu dating up until 2023. So kung meron kang telephone bill up until 2023, your guess is as good as mine. Yung mga sasakyan din po ng Skycall, meron po tayong 6 na natagpuan sa loob ng Baofu. Kung hindi po sila nag-exist, kung sila po ay nag-cease ng operation, nagkansela ng operasyon, bakit yung kanilang 6 na sasakyan ay nasa loob ng Baofu compound nung na-raid po natin? Next slide po. So ito
Matanong
nga
lang,
po.
Doctor,
Yes,
dahil nabanggit nyo na yung mga sasakyan. So, gaya ng nabanggit nyo, may several vehicles registered sa pangalan ng Skycall Technologies na hanap sa loob ng Baofu compound ng raid ninyo. So, well, batay sa research no, ano ba yung relasyon ng Skycall Technologies at saka Baofu?
At this point, we have nothing definite yet. But what we could say at this point is, doon nila inilalagak yung kanilang mga sasakyan. So pwedeng napaka-social naman po ng kanilang parking area. Nasa mga villas po yung parking areas ng Skycall.
Please proceed.
Yes, ma'am. So ito nga po, dito ay medyo malaliman ang aming investigasyon sapagkat nakita po namin ito na mayroong koneksyon di umano ang kasalukuyang alkalde ng Bamban, si Mayor Guo, sapagkat nung 2020, nung siya po ay pribadong mamamayan pa lamang, she was the one who applied for the letter of no objection doon sa sangguniang bayan ng Bamban for 10 Hongsheng. May mga dokumento ho tayong nakita, kasalukuyang bahagi ng aming investigasyon na sa kabila ng pagkansela nung Hongsheng nung Pebrero nung nakaraang taon sapagkat na-raid po sila ng CIDG Central Luzon nung Pebrero nung 2023, patuloy po siyang nag-ooperate. In fact, may mga dokumento kaming nakita nakapangalan sa Hongsheng na sinisingil pa po siya ng kanilang mga PLDT, ng kanilang mga smart bills and so on and so forth up until November of 2023. Kung ikaw ay nakansila nung Pebrero, bakit patuloy ka nag-ooperate hanggang nagbabayad ng mga bills up until 2023 November?
Sino pong sinisingil? Hongsheng as a company o particular na tao?
Si Mr. Walter Wong Long, nakapangalan sa kanya, Hongsheng Gaming Corporation. Tuloy po natin. So ayan nga po, no? Some of the documents that we found are in the name of these companies po. Napakarami ho nating dokumento. Kahong-kahong dokumento po ang nakuha natin na bahagi ngayon ng ebidensya na magdidiin sa ilang mga korporasyon na di umano yung mga kanselado na. Pero bakit marami pa silang mga dokumento at mga utilities na sinisingil up until 2023 sa loob ng Baofu. Next po. So ito po yung initial, ito po yung nakuha nating articles of certificate of registration sa SEC ng Baofu Land, ng Hongsheng Gaming tsaka ng Baofu Land Development. Next po. Pero pagdating po noong 2022, ayon nga po sa pahayag ng ating mayora, nag-divest na daw di umano siya doon sa mga korporasyon na nabanggit dyan. Kaya sa government information sheet po nila ng 2022, hindi na po natin makita ang pangalan ng butihing mayora dyan sa kanilang korporasyon na yan. Tuloy po. Pero up until June 2022 po, meron pa pong nakita kami mga dokumento ng paniningil sa nagngangalang isang Miss Alice Leal Guo na di umanong kumakatawan sa Baofu Land Development Corporation, sinisingil po siya ng Arison. If I'm not mistaken, this is for housekeeping or maintenance company. Next po.
So di umano ay nag-divest na sila mula dun sa kumpanya pero nagbabayad pa rin ng ilang mga billings
Yes, ma'am.
ng kumpanyang iyon din.
Yes, Madam Chair. So ito po ang aming ikinagulat sapagkat noong 14th of March, kami po ay inabutan ng Tarelco ng isang notice na kami na ang compound ay nagkakautang ng kung hindi bababang 14 million po yata. So ilang milyong pagkakautang at nakapangalan po mismo kay Mayor Alice Guo ng Pandan, Bamban. So diyan na po kami nagsimulang maghukay nung nakita po namin ang dokumentong yan. Okay. At isa nga po sa produkto ng aming paghuhukay ay meron kaming nakitang isang sasakyan sa loob na nakapangalan sa isang nagngangalang Alice L. Guo na isang limited edition na Ford Expedition yata kung di ako nagkakamali. Okay. So ito pong may nakita rin po kami, ito naman po mga open cases, no? So maaring ito yung mga indikasyon ng hindi pagbabayad ng income tax return para sa ilang mga empleyado ng Hongsheng, ng Zunyuan at maging ng Baofu Land Development Corporation. Ang mas mainam po makasagot po niyan ay ang Bureau of Internal Revenue. Next po. Ito po ang mukha ng big boss nung Zunyuan, si Wang Jiang. Siya po ay mayroong 3 pasaporte at ayon sa ating impormasyon na nanggaling sa Bureau of Immigration, hindi pa po nakakalabas ng Pilipinas si Wang Jiang. Siya po ay may passport ng Cyprus, may passport ng mainland China at may passport po ng St. Kitts. At siya po ay fugitive, meron pong ibinigay na warrant of arrest sa Bureau of Immigration sa PAOK, ang People's Republic of China para kay Mr. Wang Jiang. Initially po,
So, ma-input ko lang ito mga kaibigan input ko lang dito, my friends, na ito po ay in my own opinion and base sa mga syempre, 'di ba? Mga nalalaman natin dito sa ganitong klaseng sistema, meron po itong passport ng China, ng iba't ibang Cyprus, ng ibang bansa, mga kaibigan. Nangangahulugan po ito mga kaibigan na intelligence asset talaga ito ng China, mga kaibigan. Kasi tingnan nyo meron siyang kaso mula sa China. Ito po ang ibig sabihin niyan. Nire-retrieve siya ng bansa niya. Pinapalabas na siya ay pugante, siya ay may kaso sa China, pero kung gusto siyang kunin ng China para hindi siya makuha ng Pilipinas at hindi siya kumanta. Kasi marami na itong alam Therefore, binigyan nila ng kaso ito, kunyari, may kaso, kukunin na namin. Pero ang totoo, asset namin ito. Ang totoo, bahagi ito ng aming military asset. Ganun po yung pagkakaintindi natin dito. So, siya daw yung big boss, mga kaibigan, na tumatayo dun sa sinasabi nating Pogo Hub dyan sa Bamban, Tarlac. Oo. So, I think, in our own conspiracy theory, talagang kasabwat din ito ng Mayor Guo, no, diyan po sa Banban.
Sa pakikipagtulungan ng ating intelligence community, natukoy po natin kung nasaan po siya. Yun nga lamang, napakahirap po niya talagang matuntun sapagkat ayon sa ating mga sources, siya po ay gumagamit ng helicopter sa pag-iikot para makatakas. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Doctor. Well, marami rin akong follow-up questions at malamang pati si Sen. Sherwin, so we will continue with those. Salamat dun sa presentation. Naunahan nyo na rin yung isang follow-up questions ko na ano yung nag-trigger nung raid. So kung tama yung pagkaintindi ko sa presentation nyo, ang nag-trigger ay mismong yung call for help ng Vietnamese national na si Elias Dani at pati yung request mula sa Malaysian Embassy in the Philippines. Tama po, yun po yung dalawang mitsa, kumbaga.
You're correct, Madam Chair.
And na-anticipate nyo na rin yung isa ko pang follow-up questions, pero dagdagan ko ng konti dahil meron pong mga dokumentong nakalap gaya sa presentation nyo that would seem to implicate the mayor of Bamban. And ipakita ko yung ilan pa siguro dito ngayon. Kinukumpirma nyo po ba na galing ito sa nakuha nyo sa raid? Okay, so ito na-present yun na kanina, yung resolution interposing no objection to the application of Ms. Alice Guo for franchise license permit of Hongsheng Gaming Technology Inc. So, isa po ito sa pinresent nyo kanina, no? So,
Yes,
galing sa raid. Yung sumunod po. So, ito naman po ay mula sa Office of the Sangguniang Bayan and of the Municipal Mayor, respectively. Parehong, yung isa taong 2019 at yung isa taong 2020. So yung una, an ordinance reclassifying a total of 79,218 square meters property of Ms. Alice Guo located in Barangay Anapul. From agricultural to residential and commercial use to serve as site for residential subdivision and office building. So, dyan din po lumalabas apparently yung ganong kalaki, yung compound. Tama po ba? 7.9 hectares.
Madam Chair, yung dokumento po ay hindi ho nanggaling sa amin. Wala ho kaming ganyang dokumento.
All right. So, we received these from the Office of the Mayor. And the second, mula sa Office of the Municipal Mayor, dated year 2020, tungkol sa isang pulong held with the Hongsheng Gaming Technology represented by Ms. Alice Guo, identifying Hongsheng Gaming Technology Inc., and signifying the corporation's intention to engage in, conduct, maintain, and operate a business of amusement, entertainment, and recreation activities. All right. So I know, Doctor, there were calls for DILG to conduct a probe on the mayor of Bamban, Mayor Alice Guo. And bukod po sa na-present nyo na, perhaps I should ask this better of DILG. ASEC Benitez, salamat sir for joining us in another hearing of our committee. So sa pagkakaalam nyo po ba, ASEC, may mga findings na ba sa probe na iyon?
Yeah, magandang araw po. Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, Honorable Senator Win Gatchalian. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity, Madam Chair. Now, as far as that question is concerned, ma'am, we have already conducted our fact-finding inquiry or a probe on this incident now allegedly involving some local government officials of the municipality of Banban. Now, basically, the department, through an order of the Secretary, last April 5, 2024, now formed a task force to conduct this fact-finding probe or inquiry. And basically, we consume an episode of a few days, April 11 to 12, where the task force, where the fact-finding team conducted the investigation, Madam Chair. And just to abbreviate our reply, we are done with our recommendation. As a matter of fact, we have already submitted our recommendation to the Office of the Ombudsman because we believe that that agency of the government is basically competent to cause the potential prosecution of those whom in our findings we find potential violations to have been committed. Madam Chair, if you will excuse us, we submitted a copy of the fact-finding investigation report that the DILG conducted. And if you will notice in the report that we submitted, we did not include our recommendation for the possible violations, for fear that we might be preempting the Office of the Ombudsman. Now, in the conduct of its own evaluation on whether or not a probable cause exists now against those government officials now whom we implicated in our investigation. And again, we also would like to thank the good Senator Win Gatchalian now for that directive for the DILG to conduct investigation. Although we have to clarify our point here insofar as the authority of the department to conduct or to proceed with disciplinary proceedings against local government officials. Now, it's just unfortunate that under our present setup and the political landscape that we have right now, the department basically is not that authorized. The proper description is we are not basically endowed with disciplinary authority now vis-a-vis local government officials, now particularly the elected ones. Now, because this particular authority was given to other agencies of the government. So just to abbreviate, Madam Chair, now it is the Office of the Ombudsman and the Office of the President and the appropriate Sanggunians, now who under the Local Government Code and under Republic Act 6770 are authorized to cause the disciplinary investigations of those erring public servants that we have. Although we cannot also deny the fact that the Department of the Secretary was given that delegated authority by the President now to exercise the power of general supervision. Now, that power of general supervision is merely a conduit now for the Secretary to probably initiate or animate the actual agencies of the government to conduct this actual investigation. So at this point in time, we just would like to clarify basic misconceptions on the part of the public that the department can impose disciplinary penalties or even cause the preventive suspension of some local elected officials because unfortunately under our present law, now this particular authority is not extant. And again, now please forgive me from articulating this view, Madam Chair. Now considering that this is an investigation in aid of legislation, now this is really one point that I find very timely to articulate a very important position insofar as the department is concerned. Now, the DILG is a very critical agency of the government, considering the multitude of sectors that are placed within the envelope of its oversight. Now, unfortunately, this power of oversight does not include the power of conducting investigations. In other words, we don't have disciplinary authority, I mean. So unlike the Office of the Ombudsman, unlike the appropriate Sanggunian, unlike the Office of the President, now the department cannot even impose preventive suspension. We cannot even cause the conduct of disciplinary investigation against potential erring public officers. And this is really one particular gap or hole in the arsenal of the department, which probably we would like to solicit a possible review on the part of the Senate or the Congress and possibly try to determine if it is really appropriate that the department should be endowed with that kind of authority, if only for us to be able to help the government in its campaign of ridding our government with unfit public servants, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ASEC. Point very well taken. Lalo na nga dahil in aid of legislation yung aming mga investigasyon dito sa Senado. So bukod po dun sa usapin ng pag-impose ng preventive suspension na sabi nyo nga ibang mga opisina sa ngayon sa ilalim ng batas ang may ganong kapangyarihan. Are you at liberty, is the department at liberty to tell the committee kung ano yung at least key findings ng inyong fact-finding ng task force at ano yung mga pinaka-importanting rekomendasyon at tungkol sa kaninong mga officials ang mga implications niyan?
Well, the fact-finding committee was able to recommend to the secretary now some notable results that would really implicate government officials in the municipality of Bamban. Now, we basically found out that certain local government officials were privy to certain violations. So I can just convey a general finding, Madam Chair. Now, because everything has already been forwarded to the Office of the Ombudsman, but we do believe that certain local government officials, particularly those who are responsible for policy formulations and those in the Sanggunians, could be held liable for potential violation, not only for administrative malfeasance, but even for possible criminal violation. In the light of Republic Act 3019, especially in the particular perspective of causing undue injury to the government through evident bad faith and manifest partiality, Madam Chair.
Salamat, ASEC. At meron din ba kayong pwedeng sabihin sa amin na general recommendations dun sa sinubmit nyo kay Secretary? Or rather, to the Office of the Ombudsman?
Well, in general, some local government officials were based on our benchmark and standards, were found guilty of administrative malfeasance like misconduct in office. Well, many of them did not perform their duties in accordance with the directives and the prescriptions of the local government code. Now, we did ferret out violations on top officials occupying the executive branch of the local government unit and also from the legislative department. Up to that point, Madam Chair, we can share probably the recommendations or the findings of the committee. It could not be, well, you cannot say that that is basically the correct recommendation, but somehow we back up our findings with concrete evidentiary support. Now, based on the multitudes of interviews that were conducted by the members of the fact-finding committee, and we basically observed the rights of those who were involved in the investigation, and everything has been submitted to the Office of the Ombudsman. And we expect objective evaluation also from the Office of the Ombudsman, because we do believe that there is strength in our recommendation, Madam Chair.
Thank you, ASEC. Huling follow-up na lamang at this point dun po sa sinabit yung report. Sabi nyo kasi at the highest levels of the local executive. So, si Mayor po ba ang pinatutungkulan ninyo?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you, ASEC. At this point, Sen. Sherwin, since in-acknowledge ng department na request din ninyo ang nagpasimula ng investigation, do you want to jump in now with your follow-up questions, or may I proceed later? Thank you, Sen. Sherwin. All right. So, gusto kong itanong yung tungkol sa sa chief ng CIDG NCRFU. Yung si Colonel George Buyakaw, tama po ba, supported by PAOK, si Colonel Buyakaw yung in charge noon sa Zone U1 operations? Who can take yes, Yusek Cruz.
Yes, Madam Chair. Siya po yung officer in charge during the raid at Zone U1.
Salamat. And so tama po ba na malaki yung tulong niya sa inyong operasyon at yung mga tao niya ang instrumental sa pagkalap ng mga ebidensya laban sa mga key players?
Opo, ma'am. Actually, sila po yung pinaka-lead agency na ginamit namin from the Philippine National Police, and also the one who applied for the search warrant is coming from CIDG NCR.
Pero tama po ba na itong si Colonel Buyakaw ni-relieve?
I saw the relief order in the online platform of the PNP, ma'am. And perhaps as to the original copy of the relief order, ma'am, we can ask the PNP personnel.
Yun, mga kaibigan, yung sinasabi ko, mga kaibigan. Yung kernel po na trumabaho nito ng raid po ng Pogo dyan po sa Bamban Tarlac, siya po yung inalis pa dyan po sa kanyang posisyon, mga kaibigan. Siya po yung nagli-lead na mag-raid nito, na mag-intelligence gathering, pero siya po ay inalis, mga kaibigan, dyan sa kanyang trabaho. Dyan po sa pag-operate nitong Pogo. Tuloy muna natin. Ito. Tuloy muna natin
We'll do that po. Pero sino po yung nag-relieve sa kanya?
Yung director po ng CIDG, ma'am. That was Brigadier General, Major General Romeo Karamat.
Alright, now, kasunod ng pag-relieve na yan kay Colonel Buyakaw, so anong mga hakbang yung pwedeng gawin para ipagpatuloy pa rin yung investigasyon saka yung prosecution ng mga responsible dun sa Zone 1 operations?
Basically, ma'am, they are in charge with in preparation of the documents for the filing of cases, and for the document examination, ma'am, we're actually using them. But since they are now assigned in far-flung areas like Mindanao, Visayas, so kailangan papupuntahin pa po namin sila rito sa Metro Manila through eroplano, ma'am. So ang kinatatakot lang po namin dito, ma'am, baka masira po yung kaso kung hindi po sila kaagad-agad makakarating for the hearing during the trial, ma'am.
Oh, I certain knowing how yung mga ganong resource persons o witnesses napakahalaga kahit sa mga investigasyon namin dito sa Senado. I really hope na he can make himself and he can be made available para sa patuloy na mga pagtrabaho nyo. Doon po sa nabalitaan nyo sa sabi nyo website lamang yung pag-relieve kay Colonel Boyacao, may dahilan ba na nakalagay doon? Bakit siya ni-relieve?
Normally, ma'am, it's assignment and reassignment lang po ang nakalagay doon. But as to the reason why he was relieved, hindi naman po nakasulat doon.
Baka this is a good time before we continue with our questions sa PAOK to ask the PNP. Sino po ba ang pwedeng matanong kung ano po yung dahilan ng pag-relieve kay Colonel Boyacao? Lalo na pagkatapos ng mukhang isang napaka-fruitful naman na operation. Sino po ba ang makasasagot? Will it be Police Brigadier General Cariaga or will it be Police Brigadier General Hidalgo, sir?
Madam Chair, not within our level to know the reason why Colonel Boyacao was relieved as NCRC Chief.
Yes, sir. So, posible po ba during this hearing maitanong po sa national headquarters ba or at least sa CIDG kung ano yung dahilan? Curious po yung komite, ano yung dahilan na ni-relieve si Colonel Boyacao?
Madam Chair, probably the CIDG Chief or the DPRM could answer the reason, ma'am.
Could the good Police Brigadier General do the committee a favor to susulat po ang chair sa kanila pero at least during the rest of this hearing could the good general do the committee the favor of communicating initially directly sa kanila para lang bago tayo matapos ngayong araw may some kind of general understanding kung ano yung naging dahilan?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Maraming salamat, General Sir. And tama po ba na yung local PNP ay nasa ilalim ng Mayor's Office? Tama po ba yon?
Madam Chair, the local Chief Executive has the operational supervision and control over the local PNP, Madam Chair.
Sir, does that include relief of police officers in the area? It does not, no?
That is included, Madam Chair.
So it is included. All right. So maybe the committee will also ask the mayor in a while kung may kaalaman sila bakit ni-relieve si Colonel Boyacao. But the chair will still wait for the assistance of the good general
Madam Chair, excuse me
feedback
po.
from
Doon lang po
Krame.
sa local involved yung may authority yung local Chief Executive, not in the national level, Madam Chair.
Sorry, could you say that again, sir?
Doon lang, ma'am, sa local police may jurisdiction yung local Chief Executive but not in the national level like that of the relief of Colonel Boyacao.
All right, I understand. So talagang essential po makatanggap ng feedback mula sa national headquarters sa Krame, at least initially, no, para lang mas malinawan ng kahit kaunti ang lahat dito ngayon. Bakit ni-relieve si Colonel Boyacao? And so the chair will await that with the appreciation, sir.
Will comply, Madam Chair.
Salamat, sir. Just to continue with the questions for PAOK bago tayo dumako kina Mayor. Well, na-present nyo na rin kanina, Yusek, sa presentation ni Dr. Casio, yung tungkol sa mga sasakyan. And then, sige, pull out tayo, bigger picture. Sa inyong mahabang karanasan sa mga scam hubs na ito o yung mga POGO kung saan nagsusuot, nagtatago yung mga scam hubs, ano-anong klaseng mga krimen ang nalilink sa mga illegal pogos or kahit sa mga legal na pogo, pero yung pala
Okay mga kaibigan, bago tayo mag-iba ng tema ng pagre-review, mga kaibigan, yung pangyayari po, no? Lahat po ng intelligence gathering, mga kaibigan, napakahirap po niyan. Alam naman po, kahit hindi po tayo mga pulis, kahit hindi po tayo mga sundalo, mahirap po mag-operate, mga kaibigan, ng isang criminal organization o ng isang criminal personality. Okay? Ngayon, itong pogo, mga kaibigan, para malaman mo na mapasok mo yan, kailangan, mga kaibigan, tatrabahuin mo yan. Matagal po yun. Kailangan meron kang intelligence, meron kang papapasukin dyan, meron kang asset, ang tawag dyan, mga kaibigan, na mamonitor mo muna kung positive sa loob bago po makakuha, mga kaibigan, ng tinatawag na search warrant. No? Oo. Hindi po basta-bastang pwedeng mag-search warrant ka lang dyan nang wala kang kasi pag nasunog yan, hindi mo na mauulit. Diba? Ang ibig sabihin ng sunog, mga kaibigan, nag-search itong si Operatiba, pinasok niya, then later, nung pagpasok niya, mga kaibigan, wala siyang nakuha. So, na mga ebidensya o wala siya napatunayan. Therefore, mga kaibigan, next time, hindi na siya pwedeng makakuha ulit basta-basta ng search warrant. Okay? Now, itong Colonel Buyakaw, tinrabaho niya yung number of villas, ano ang mga operation, ano mga pangalan ng mga kumpanya na nandyan. May idea na siya. Basically, mga kaibigan, ang isa pong hepe ng Operatiba, alam na niya. May idea na siya. Ang kailangan niya is gawing gawin niyang formal yung pag-akyat sa kaso sa korte. Kailangan niya talaga ng actual na raid, no? May mga kopya na yan. Technically, mayroon ng mga kopya yan ng mga tinatawag na ebidensya. Ang problema, mga kaibigan, hindi mo yan pwedeng gamitin sa korte kung nakuha mo nang wala pong pahintulot. Wala pong legitimate operation. Halimbawa, mga kaibigan, yung batas po ng anti-wiretapping law, kung meron po nag-send sa akin ng mga documents via cellphone, mga kaibigan, hindi po natin pwedeng gamitin yun sa korte kasi may anti-wiretapping law, not unless meron pong pahintulot, no, nung nag-send, meron pong consent. Pero ibig sabihin, hindi ka pwedeng basta-basta gumamit lang ng ebidensya sa korte. So, kailangan mong trabahuin kahit na may nag-submit na sa iyo ng mga ebidensya, kailangan mong pasukin yung vicinity na yon. So itong ginawa po ng Colonel Buyakaw na ito, mga kaibigan, ay napakahalaga. Okay? Binantayan po nila, kinordon nila yung lugar kasi nga, nung unang raid nila, para maintindihan lang po ng mga kaibigan natin dito, pinasok po nila ito, mga kaibigan, tapos po wala silang nahuli dahil po merong tunnel itong facility na ito ng Pogo. Ang tawag po nila doon is panic room. Okay? Yung purpose po ng tunnel na yon, kapag may nag-raid, papasok lahat ng mga tao doon sa tunnel. Okay? Ngayon, mga kaibigan, ang nakikita po natin dito, dahil kung hindi nyo po napanood itong kabuuan ng video, doon po sa presentation kanina ng una, mayroon pong isang Vietnamese na nagtatrabaho po doon sa Pogo sa Bamban Tarlac na nakatakas. Kaya nakakuha sila ng magandang intel, mga kaibigan, nakakuha po sila ng idea na mayroong tunnel dahil may nakatakas po. Yung nakatakas na yun, mga kaibigan, most probably yun na nagsabi sa mga pulis na mayroong tunnel na how they operate. Di ba? So, ito, conspiracy theory, mga kaibigan, yun pong Filipino, US, American, Filipino citizen, yung retired daw po na US Filipino citizen, na nandun lang po sa tabi ng property ng Pogo na yan, na nakakuha po dito sa Vietnamese na ito. Pumasok siya sa property na yun no? So US Filipino citizen 'yon, hindi niya binigay itong Vietnamese na to. So in my own conspiracy theory, baka part po ito ng US asset na hindi po natin pwedeng masabi kung positive o negative, 'di ba? Kasi hindi aamin ng Amerika diyan, 'di ba? So therefore, itong mga intelligence gathering na to, baka tinatrabaho na ng Amerika ito. Dahil nalaman nila, kung gusto niyo po mapanood yung mga pahayag po ng mayor, nalaman po nila, ultimo po yung mga chopper ng mayor na sinasabi po nating part din ng armed forces, no? Na asset, no? Ng China na naging mayor po ng Bamban Tarlac. 'Di ba? So lahat po ng mga galaw nila dyan, ako, in my own conspiracy theory, tinatrabaho na rin to ng Amerika. Okay? So binibigay ito sa atin, sa Pinas, kaya ngayon meron pong investigasyon dito. Now, ang masakit, mga kaibigan, ganun katibay itong sindikato ng Pogo na ito, mga kaibigan, ganun sila katibay na kaya nilang ipatanggal kung sino po ang namuno dyan sa pag-ooperate sa kanila. Hindi naman po tanggal sa serbisyo pero inalis po sa trabaho. Tinatrabaho nung Colonel Buyakaw ito. Meron na siyang na-establish na foundation sa pagtatrabaho dyan. Di ba? Pero bakit matatanggal siya sa kanyang trabaho dahil ililipat siya? Di ba? Ang dahilan lang, reassignment. So pinatapon sila sa iba't ibang parte ng Mindanao, mga kaibigan. Yan ang masakit dito po sa mga operatiba ng pulis. Nagiging kalakalan po yan. Di ba? Kung matino ang pulis, may trabaho siya, may nasagasaan siya, minsan napapatapon siya sa mga malalayo. Yung mga tauhan niya, hinihiwalay sa kanya. Yun po yung hindi naintindihan ng mga tao. Di ba? Halimbawa, ako, hepe ako, kernel ako. May sarili po akong tauhan ng mga pinipik ko na may tiwala ako. Ngayon, pag meron ako nasagasaan, isang malaking sindikato, conspiracy theory, at may connection yun sa loob ng gobyerno, ang gagawin nun, yung kung sinong mas mataas, yun ang magdidikta ngayon na sirain yung grupo ko. So ito po, ganito katindi, mga kaibigan, yung impluensya po ng China dito po sa ating bayan, di ba? Nagpapasok sila ng mayor, nagpapasok sila ng kanilang ito conspiracy theory, mahirap ta, di ba? Ginagamitan ko yan ng salitang conspiracy theory dahil mahirap na. So nagpapasok po sila ng kanilang armed forces asset, ng kanilang intelligence, pinasok po nila sa ating politika. Ginawa nilang mayor ng Bamban, pinapanalo nila, mga kaibigan. And then later on, ayan, nagtatag sila ng negosyo dito kasi alam po ninyo, yung iba pong mga hacking incident, mga kaibigan, na nangyari sa website ng Pilipinas ay na-trace po na yung mga IP address di umano dyan galing mismo sa loob po ng mga Pogo facility na yan na nasa Bamban Tarlac. At ang nag-apply po para po maaprubahan yung Pogo dyan, mga kaibigan, ay yung kasalukuyang mayor po ng Bamban na nanalo, na yung sinasabi nga nating asset ng China. Di ba? Nanalo, yan yung nag-apply. Siya din yung incorporator, na later on, dinay niya lahat yan. Ultimong educational niya, hindi niya masabi kung paano siya gumraduate, paano siya nag-aral. Lagi sinasabi niya, tutorial lang sa bahay, sino magulang niya, yung mga kapangalan ng kapatid niya, hindi dinay niya, mga kaibigan. So, panoorin niyo yan, pwede kong i-attach yung video na yan pagkatapos itong video na to, i-attach ko dyan sa ating comment section, sa ating ender, no? Ika nga dito sa ating end screen. Pag natapos po yung video. Yun po yung dahilan, mga kaibigan, kung bakit po natin nalaman itong mga modus nitong mga sinasabi pong Pogo operator na nag-ano po sila, nagpapanggap sila na legitimate. In fact, mga kaibigan, bago pa man po pumasok ang Pogo operation sa Pilipinas, nung inaalaw yan ni Duterte, binabatikos na po natin dito yan. Kung naandyan, mga kaibigan, itong aking kaibigang Ibanghilito, sinabi ko na usually mga kaibigan, mga ano yan, mga Chinese assets yan. Mga kaibigan, naalala nyo kung that was I think 2018 mga kaibigan, sinasabi ko na dahil ako po ay may experience sa real estate, bultuhan po ang bilihan ng mga property po ng condominium diyan sa Makapagal. Okay? Yung sinasabi po natin diyan sa may Makapagal sa Roas Boulevard, bultuhan po, bumibili po floor by floor mga kaibigan ng condo unit. Kung maalala nyo, kasi lalim na ng video natin na yan, binibili po nila mga kaibigan bulto-bulto. And then later on mga kaibigan, ito pong property ng mga Rimulya na dati pong recreational park mga kaibigan, para po may pasyalan sana dyan sa Cavite, nasa dulo ng dila ko yung pangalan ng recreational park na yan, binenta po sa Pogo Hub. Kinonvert na po nila ngayon sa mga buildings na. And mga kaibigan, ito ang malupit dyan. Hindi lang po conspiracy theory, hindi lang po Pilipinas ang posibleng tinitiktikan nitong mga puwersa ng China, mga kaibigan, kundi yung ibang bansa din at ginagamit nila mga kaibigan yung ating local IP. Diba? Kasi mga kaibigan, anything is possible using the technology. However, may mga paraan po para matrace kung sino, saan galing yung mga hackers na ito or yung itong mga nagpapadala po ng mga, di ba, malicious na mga program diyan po sa sistema ng bawat gobyerno ng bawat bansa. So therefore, dito nila ipinoposisyon sa katulad nating bansa, lalo na sa Pilipinas, na pwede nila sabutahiin. Pwede pong ibintang kung meron silang gagawing kalokohan sa iba't ibang bansa, ibibintang po ng mga bansa na yon sa Pilipinas. Pero sino pong gumawa? Yung kanila pong mga itinatag na mga pinakawalan nilang mga asset dito na nagpapanggap po mga negosyante sa pamamagitan po sa ngalan po ng Pogo. At sino po? Paano po nagsimula ang lahat ng ito mga kaibigan? Noong pinapasok po ng isang Rodrigo Roa Duterte, itong Pogo business na ito dito sa ating bayan. Yan po ang pinagsimulan ng lahat ng yan. So ngayon, para sa akin mga kaibigan, dapat sa susunod maprotektahan yung mga ganitong klaseng operatiba katulad ni Colonel Buyakaw. Ginawa niya trabaho niya mga kaibigan, may mga naaresto. Di ba? Tapos ang nangyari, pinatapon siya sa Mindanao, mga kaibigan, kinalat siya. 'Di ba? Yung grupo nila. Isipin mo 'yon, nakapag-aresto mga kaibigan ng posibleng kalaban ng ating bansa, na ibulgar nitong Colonel Buyakaw, pero siya pa ay natanggal sa pag-ooperate. Can you believe that? 'Di ba? Isipin mo yon, tinanggal pa siya. Siya na yung dahilan kung bakit nagkaroon ng advantage sa mga Pilipino at nahubaran natin itong mayor ng Tarlac na ito, nahubaran natin ang kanyang identity because of that Colonel Buyakaw mga kaibigan. Isipin nyo, gumagawa ng trabaho ng maayos, siya pa yung inilipat, siya pa yung nirelieve mga kaibigan. Grabe. Diba? So anyway, yung kabuuan po ng video na ito, i-attach ko po dito sa ating end screen, di ba? Kayo, tingnan nyo yan, yung tamang katwiran. Sinasakop na po tayo, dahan-dahan nitong China, ng komunistang China. Pero kung titingnan nyo, ano nangyayari sa atin? Pinapatunayan lang ba ng ating bayan na talaga bang ganon? Madali tayong mabili, madali tayong mapasok, pipitsugin lang talaga tayo. 'Di ba? 'Yun po yung ano diyan malaking question sa atin. Kaya kayo, kung ano yung komento nyo, anong inyong pananaw at opinion diyan, i-comment nyo diyan sa ating comment section. At syempre, maraming salamat sa mag-share, magla-like at magsa-subscribe kung hindi pa nakapag-subscribe ang iba nating mga kababayan. Diba? So, yun lamang po ang ating mahalagang dapat pagnilayan sa napakalagang paksang ito. na tinrabaho po ng matinong pulis, yung matinong pulis na yon, yun pa ang naipatapon sa malalayong lugar.